just woke up, it's what, 4:44, and just woke up. Just woke up like a lightning bolt and couldn't get back. I could tell I wasn't laid there. I don't know I think the first time I looked at the clock, it was just I think it was just staying 3 something, just before about 4 o'clock anyway. And straight away I just woke up and all this noise and conversations going on in my head. And playing out different scenarios and just all sorts of stuff going on up there. My brain's trying to sort it all out. It's a lot of noise. Having different conversations mainly with Dad, really, in my head. My brain seems to be running through different scenarios and different ways to gain understanding. I'm just so disappointed. So disappointed. I know from talking to people in recovery and stuff, it's that, obviously I've come on a long way, different journey in my life the last couple of year, really. Since January 2014. And grown and developed a lot as a person, but not everybody else around you has. I can see the difference in me, I'm sure, but I don't think many people realise quite how different that growth is and how different a person I am. And it really just starts with being honest with yourself. Just getting that basic honesty. And I was thinking, I woke up thinking about this because kind of the way Dad deals with stuff, particularly what he said when I asked him about how does he deal with stress. He says he just works, and he's a workaholic, there's no doubt about that. And he just works flat out, and he says, I just keep busy was his answer. And that's just that basic avoidance strategy. It's just avoiding and talking about talking. It's avoiding talking about anything nasty that might make it, that get your heart going or get a hot feeling moving in your body. And it's a totally wrong way of dealing with anything. You need to talk. It's important. It's crucial. And anyway, he really reminds me of the attitude and the way. Yeah, the attitude really just really reminds me of a fellow peer in Chai. Similar age, I think, to him. And very similar actually, more I think. Quite a lonely man. And yeah, that guy, that peer, he wouldn't really talk. Imagine going into rehab and really accepting, where you are, because you must do by the time you get into rehab, Christ. Or if you haven't, in your heart, I think you want to. Whether you do or not, it's a different thing, isn't it? But in your heart, I think you want to. When you're alone by yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror or into a camera or webcam or whatever, I think if you've ended up in rehab, I think you realise you need to talk to yourself and take yourself seriously and get honest. It's not remotely easy to do. I went into personally for me, I went into rehab and I thought I was speaking honestly and open, and had been since I was sort of properly engaged at Action way back in August 2014, and it wasn't until I can tell when that's why I love my Dear Addiction letters and a lot of the personal stuff I've done, because they're really good gauges for me when I look back. But I can tell from my Dear Addiction letters and the reaction of my peers in Chai that I didn't really get honest with myself until week 7 in Chai. 7, 8, 9. It's when there was a massive change in me and my key workers, and people said the same. Now at the time, I thought I'd been honest since day one, but something definitely clicked around then. And you hear about it as well when you first get into China. Like, God, people clicking and all this weird stuff, and it doesn't really make any sense. But looking back, I can clearly see it. And yeah, it's just basically that, getting honest with yourself. It's incredibly hard to do. It sounds so simple, but it's so hard to do. And yeah, unfortunately, really, Dad reminds me a lot of that guy. A lot of that peer. In almost every aspect of dealing with stuff. Yeah. That guy didn't, guy relapsed very quickly because he didn't get honest with himself. At least I have that. I know what I'm doing feels right. My gut tells me it's right. It doesn't feel nice. It feels really weird. But like when I met up with Steve yesterday, like he said, amongst all my blabbering and chatting and the good the really decent conversation we had, at least he said, at least you haven't picked up a drink today. And that's true. But, and that was another question Dad asked me. He says, do you think you'll ever be able to have a social drink in the pub? And hopefully I didn't show it too much, and I don't think I did, but I was just stunned Richard even asked me that. That was the early signs that he just seems to have no idea of what's gone on. I think what I sort of said yesterday or the day before about as if I've been on holiday or something, been on holiday in a tropical island for a year or something. It's kind of maybe what you think. I haven't been. I've been dealing with some very, very hard stuff. And I've got through it so far, thank God. And yeah, and then I said, I gave him the sort of, not really a great answer, but as best as I could, the right one. I was just in shock he even asked me. And then at the end of that, he said, it's a shame, it'd be a shame not to be able to have a beer with my son again in the future. I was kind of hoping I might be able to do that. And I just thought, how selfish. How selfish can you be? After everything we've gone through recently. Still just all the shit that's gone on. I'm not expecting fucking sympathy 24/7. I'm not. But just some understanding. And some, remembering. And some of that understanding actually sinking in. Christ. But it wasn't just that. I would avoid, I said to him, I'd love to be able to have a pint. It'd be great. I don't think it's safe for me to do that. Really, not really. Not really. God, old language and old habits stick, don't they? They're hard to get short. I know that wouldn't be safe for me to do that. It feels as if it would be safe, but I know it wouldn't be safe. And it's got nothing to do with... See, the problem really with this whole thing is that it's not an alcohol addiction. That the addiction is just the substance the alcohol is just a substance that I use to self-medicate myself, to make my brain stop thinking, to calm me down, to relax me, to avoid stressful situations. It was avoidance, Going back to when I asked my dad, what's he doing when he's stressed? Keeps busy, avoiding it. And I know that is not the way to deal with things. Now, in the present situation, you could say, well, if I'm with my dad in a safe situation, he was to buy us the pint, and that would be it, and then we'd drive home, no problem. But in doing so, and there wouldn't be a problem there, but in doing so, it would make my crazy part of my brain, my little madness, my addiction, my whatever you want to call it, that part of me, that is a deep part of me, the little voice that chats in my head, and that I talk back to, and we have a respectable dialogue with now, that would just start talking even louder, and it would think, well, he had one there, and you got away with it, and you remember that substance, that beer used to like that, and it used to make you feel good, it used to make you stop feeling all these stressful, tough emotions, Why don't you just have a few more of them? And then, within hours, within a week, left to my own devices, that substance will then grab me and take hold again. And it's not the substance, it's what's going on up here. And that's what I'm going to continue working through over this week. So, alcohol is just a manifestation of how I deal with problems. And I'm not going to deal with my problems like that anymore. I'm going to face them like a proper man and talk about them, and work them out, and share, listen, understand, read, and take it all on board and move forward positively. But I'm not going to treat them with neglect. I'm going to acknowledge them. Right, I've just literally got in from today, and I wanted to, it's cold outside, I wanted to check in the second I finished my pavilions meeting, but this just sort of sums up how scatty my head is really. I went to sort of just do a bit of a video, and there was no battery in the camera because I put it on charge this morning, and I left it. I realised I'd left it in the house, and I got back here and I realised I've taken the plug out of the wall and the battery was on the floor, so I was obviously sort of half doing it, and then my mind went and shot and done something else, and when I got back, the back door was wide open because I'd just scattily gone and got my bike and just gone. I mean, yeah, my brain was all over the shop really, innit? This is really good signs, not good signs, but telling me that there's no way I should be working full time because my brain is just once it gets upset, it's a muddle, an absolute muddle. But let's just quickly try and run through today. So yeah, I was up early, really, I couldn't sleep. I woke up like, I don't know, 4 or something, and it was like, totally awake, but I managed to get back to sleep, which is good. I was up for, I don't know, 2 hours or something, but I got tired again, so I went back to bed, and then I found it hard to get up when he actually got up, and went down to the train station to head over to the Amex for yet more training. Jesus Christ, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of sitting in front of a PowerPoint presentation talking about health and safety. But that's it, that was the end of it. And it's sort of the little break that we had. Joe, the HR woman, came over and said, you know, if you want to, are you free this Friday and not Saturday or something, because they need stewards this Saturday. So I'm ready to work now, basically, because I've done that. If I want to. I don't want to miss choir at all, so she said, I forget what time she said, but anyway, you know, that is not remotely important. What's important is that I'm in touch with recovery, and I'm around people that understand me clearly, and I can talk to them, and I can listen to them, and I can take their advice. So I done that, and then got back on the train, and then cycled over to my usual Monday meeting, and yeah, it's good. Everybody's doing, you know, ups and downs, and a fellow peer there that seems to have had a similar sort of week, really, and you know, that peer had been doing well, and I'm still sweating from just talking about it all again. It was, takes the power out of it a lot, though, talking about it all. All the different dynamics and all the different shit that's going on. You know, rightly or wrongly, up in my head, they're going on. May as well acknowledge them, talk about them. But yeah, I didn't quite. I wasn't stopping myself, but I almost cried in that meeting. That would have been a while since I've done that. But yeah, emotionally just in a really shit state right now. Not remotely stable at all. You know, luckily the Amex thing was just boring and dull and felt very official. I mean, it's very professional there, that's what I like about it. So I could sort of just whack on the old professional face, the bullshit face, and get through it quite easily. But the second I left there and got to the meeting, I felt like myself again, felt like a real person. And yeah, and then just came back here, and it's been one of those days where the time has just flown by because it's been busy. And I'm just going to have a little bit of time out to myself now, chill before he actually gets back. Just had a shower, and physically I can tell I've had it certainly yesterday a little bit and today a lot. My this lip's really dried up. Don't know what that's about, but up on the bonds here, the psoriasis is back with a vengeance. It's like full on load of psoriasis kicking off up here, and it's yeah, I don't know much I can do about that. The best cure for that is sunlight and stress reduction, and I can't really sort either of those out well at the minute, so that's that, innit? Right, I just want to sort of finalise my thoughts for the day, really, and what went on and how it went, really. I just want to talk a bit more about the meeting, this afternoon's meeting. I think it's the longest I've ever spoken at one of those meetings since being back in Brighton, understandably, and I very nearly cried again. I wasn't stopping myself. I'm happy to let myself do that. I don't mind, and I'm happy not to as well. But I nearly did. I didn't quite. But just in telling the story, I sweated so much. Jesus, sweated so much, and my heart rate was just off the scale. And then at the end of the meeting, I was really cold because all the sweat had cooled down. Which I said. and yeah, just filled in, expressed, everything that's going on. And I mean, firstly, everybody's really supportive, obviously, and they said, basically just pat yourself on the back and how you're dealing with it and how you're going about your business, really, because somebody with a recovery that's not as strong, with so many good things, solid things in place, would have folded under that. I really don't know how I made it through. I really don't. Just got everything in place, and I believe in myself for the first time in years, and I trust in what I'm doing, and I'm not scared to be honest and open and talk about how I'm feeling. It's quite liberating, actually. And I said in that meeting, I really wanted to make sure I felt everything as much as possible, all the good and the bad, and just try and not hide and not run away from anything, just feel it and live in the moment, not get tied up in it, but just live in it. And I almost said the word enjoy. I mean, that's not correct, but experience it fully, as much as you can. Brain's total muddle, but just experience it. And yeah, lots of really good supportive stuff advice was passed on, and positive comments, and congratulations on the way I've dealt with things, and having not picked up a drink, and the ramifications, if I did, would just be horrific. I mean, Yachi basically said last night, if that was to happen, she would just fall to bits and would end up leaving me. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Not the drink part, but I can tell just from the way I've changed over the last couple of two days or so, just my reaction, the way my mind's working on my reaction to it, and she's like really heightened her take on things. And I was sitting last night just on the edge of the bed, ready to go to bed, and I was just looking down at 2 books, deciding which 2 books to read, and she was sitting in bed right behind me, just reading a book, and anyway, she got really worried all of a sudden. She came over and said, what are you doing? What are you looking at? And I said, I'm just working out which book to read. Should I read that one or this one? And I said, you haven't got any vodka there, have you? Not hiding any vodka. I mean, that's how heightened her senses are. She's worried that I'm whacking vodka by the side of the bed already, and which is totally understandable. That's what I used to do. So I totally understand that. And I said to her, I'm being as honest and as open as I can be to her. There's nothing, I'm not hiding anything, nothing. And anything I know that's going on in my head, I tell her it might not make any sense, but but yeah, she's really heightened her. She's on edge, nervous. I am as well. I'm trying to protect my life, trying to stay alive, basically, because that's what it is. I mean, if I was to pick up again, I'd see Yachi leaving pretty quick. Not pretty quick. She'd do her best, but I think if it was a full-on ongoing relapse, it would just snowball. And yeah, I mean, I could very easily end up losing my life, either through all the shit chemicals I'd end up putting in my body, or me doing it myself. And I don't want that to happen. I'm enjoying life too much now. Got too many good things going on. There's somebody else in that meeting that really understood what I was like. It was just good. It was good. I don't like to talk too much about them because they're very private. But I got a lot of help and support. And I just wanted to sign out even on the vlog today, and just for the last couple hours tonight I just want to relax, read, watch a film, whatever. Just going down to meet Yachi now. She's late from work, no internet at work or something today, and I just want, tell her, get her up to speed with what's happened, try and reduce her worry as much as possible, and then I'm just going to switch off for tonight. Done. That is the end of Monday, the 19th of October. Good night.